Okay, so do not judge me for the glasses. I'm trying to look like I know what I'm talking about, and I kind of know what I'm talking about, kind of. But then Gabby was telling me that I look like this one character from a movie that I'm not gonna say, because if I do, then you're not gonna take me serious through this whole video. But as you can tell by the title, you know what this video is about. And I was planning to do this video for like my senior year. Like I already started writing down like certain incidents that have happened this semester in one of my idea books that I have, and saving it for senior year. So like by the time I'm like peace out, I can like then let out everything like now that I'm done with that school. But after this last phone call that I had, that I'll talk about later, it kind of just made me want to do this video like right now. And it's just, oh my god. Maybe there'll be more things that made me not like Chapman in the next 3 years, but I'll probably do like another like updated video on this. So, one, I got waitlisted into Chapman, so maybe it was a sign that I wasn't meant to be. But if I wasn't accepted the first time around, and then like the diversity thing is like, there's not that much diversity. I know it's getting better than it was like maybe the previous years, but like it's important to look at the factors of what makes it not so diverse. Perhaps because like it's expensive. It's an expensive private school. Do you think like most low income families are Hispanic? So so it's harder for like Hispanics to like be able to like pay that tuition amount to get into to like go to that school. So maybe that's why school is not as diverse as it is. And then a lot of teachers at that school, like I've seen a few videos like here and there about like racist like words that teachers have said at that school, and there's one incident that was like kind of fixed, I guess, but I hope it never happens again. Like I hope in these next 4 years that I'm at this school that I don't encounter, or anybody encounters, another racist incident, or doesn't feel safe at the school because of the color of their skin. And besides the ethnicity thing, like then there's also like other kids that are like, I said this so many times, like they're responsible kids that party so much, especially during this pandemic, and seriously do not care. I'm like, how on earth do you go? But if you compare me to you, like who makes more smarter choices? That makes sense. I'm gonna leave it up there. I don't know if that makes sense. And then the next thing is tuition. Yeah, it's expensive, as I said before, and this is something that I did not make as a smart choice of just going to community college. But my reason of thinking, and I guess my mom's thinking as well, is that if my choice is always just to go to community college because it is like cheaper or less money, then that's how it's going to be for the next generations. Like the solution is always going to be community college. How come we can never go to a nice private college like that? Only because we don't have that amount of money. You know, why is it like we can't have like those like really cool things? And it's meanwhile like another student who maybe didn't put as much work as you could still just go to that college as long as they have the money. You know, it kind of relates to that USC scandal that I think a lot of people know by now, about the actor's daughter, you know, all that stuff. And it's like, not saying that anybody like cheated their way into Chapman, but I'm saying like, just to say 2 students get into Chapman, they have the same IQ, they did the same things, they worked just as hard, but only one student will be able to go to that school because they have that money. Meanwhile, the other is left out, and that's the annoying thing. And a lot of my friends also got into like really good schools, and the sad thing is that they can't really like afford to go to that school because tuitions are so expensive. Why can't colleges just lower tuitions? Why does the solution always have to be community college for us? And maybe there's something I'm missing here, but that's kind of what my thinking is. Then my financial aid, they didn't believe me about my financial aid. They asked for verification, and I sent an email with a PDF of 10 pages long, I believe, and there's other emails that I sent a proof as well. Until I sent that 10-page PDF, that's when they finally believed me and verified. And I know they asked a lot of other students to verify as well, but I hope it is not that they're just asking the low-income families or a specific ethnicity that they're asking for a verification. I hope it's not that way, but I really do not know. But it's kind of it was very annoying to have to continue sending proof after proof so they can finally believe me. I didn't know that you have to set up a payment plan every semester. And they probably told me this, and maybe it was my fault that I didn't pay attention, but I had no idea. We did not, for some reason, the payment did not go through for December or today, January. And I'm oh no, there's something wrong, and it turns out that's because we didn't set up a payment plan for this next semester. I had no idea at all. And now we owe both payments. We're 2 payments behind. And that's scary. Because I expect you to have that money just in oh, I forgot to pay it. Oh, my bad. Here it is. That's the kind of difficult part. That they don't tell you this until today that I called the business offices. And this is why I hate going to any office. Not just here in Chapman, but also in high school or middle school. The office ladies sometimes are not the nicest. They're most super serious and stuff. And I go into the office, or right now I called the office and I'm yes, I need help with some of the financial aid thing. And they're I don't understand what you're saying. Could you be more clear? And I kind of tried to explain myself a little bit more. I'm not sure if the payment went through for, I wanted to verify, my mom has been getting these emails from Chapman, and it seems like the payments are not going through, but we don't really know as much, because also the Chapman website is in English, so it's hard to translate to my mom in Spanish what it's saying. And then it's kind of confusing for me as well. So that's why I'm calling them, just to verify, that we did pay for December and January. And but for some reason for her, it's still, not clear. She's yeah, I'm still not getting you. I'm I literally, I was literally telling Gabby, oh my god, why do you not understand me? Once again, I tried to explain myself, and she kind of helped. She was basically okay, well, that's actually because you owe $40,000. I'm huh? I told her, okay, but we canceled housing application and stuff, and I no longer live in student housing, so I'm hoping it will be much, much less. And they're oh, well, because you live in student housing, you were getting $1,500. But now that you don't live in student housing, that grant is being taken away. So now we're adding you those $1,500. I'm are you kidding me? When I asked for help there was this application that if you needed help for paying for housing and stuff, they will send you some money. And I did that months ago, and they asked me for a proof that I live in student housing, and I sent them the proof, and then not months later, literally yesterday, they sent me just send us proof again, and then we'll send you your reimbursement. And I'm yeah, you're telling me this now? I no longer live in student housing. It was expensive, and we needed help, and we didn't get that help, so now we're back here. So it's also when I sent an email about like why I'm canceling housing application. I'm like, I'm sorry, like it's very expensive for me to live over there, and as much as I really wanted to live over there, but I can't because of how expensive it is. And if it would be much less, then that would help. And like my mom was actually like also telling me like maybe if they actually like lowered it a lot more, then maybe like we can continue living over there. But that wasn't the case. They were like, okay, housing application closed, you're out. And that's basically how it was. Like, didn't even like, they just basically like look at it and then they're like, cancel? Okay, we're not even gonna like help at least a little bit. Okay, so there's that, and it's really annoying, just everything about that. And I'm not even gonna get started on like making friends. I've made some friends though at Chapman, and I'm really glad for those people, and as well as the Latinx club and First Generation club. Like, those two clubs have just made me feel more comfortable and welcomed in those clubs. And anytime we have a club meeting, I felt much more welcomed in there. Now, I'm sorry this rant is so long. Just had to put it out there. Just how annoying it is sometimes. So, yeah. Hopefully things, once again, can change. This is why when I become rich and famous, I'm going to be paying for scholarships for a lot of people. Or I'm going to make my own college. For like other students can go to that college and it'll be much less expensive. And yeah. Okay. So thank you for watching and bye.
Gabby called me Edna from The Incredibles. She's a bully.